today I'll be showing you why the Royal Enfield engine gives that thump and that duk-duk sound. What is so special about the Royal Enfield engines that it gives such sort of sound? And I'll be showing the classification of the engines, which sort of engines gives you that thump and which sort of engine gives you that pickup. I'll be also explaining the basic function of an engine. So here we go. First I'll explain the basic function of the engine, then I'll show you why this engine gives that thump and that sound. Okay, so here we go. From the carburetor, the mixture of air and fuel goes into the engine, that is the combustion chamber. It goes through the inlet valve. So here we have two valves, one is the inlet valve and one is the outlet valve. Okay, so when the fuel goes through the inlet valve, the fuel goes in through the inlet valve only when the piston is positioned upwards. We also call it as the compression stroke. And then here we have a spark plug which ignites the fuel. And then when the fuel is ignited, the piston moves up and down. That's when the crankcase moves, which moves the gears, and then the power from the gears is transmitted to the chain. Now that we have seen the function of an engine, I'll explain what is the bore and stroke of an engine. So right here we have the cylinder and the combustion chamber, right? So the length of the combustion chamber is known as stroke, and then the width is known as a bore. These specifications decide the amount of fuel which needs to be coming inside, and the torque of an engine, and all the other engine specifications. Now we have seen the basic definitions of the bore and stroke, right? So I'll explain you how it differs in each and every bike. So in other variants like Pulsar 220 or the Duke 200, the stroke length is reduced and the bore width is increased in order to get that pickup, and the engine needs to be revving at high speeds, right, like for about 10,000 rpm and all. So that's how they are tuned. Now that we know what is a bore and stroke of an engine, I'll tell you why the Royal Enfield engine is so famous for its thump. That's because it's a long stroke engine. It is classified into a long stroke engine. The stroke length is for about 90 mm, and then the bore width is 70 mm. Okay, usually for other bikes the stroke would be nearly 60 mm, and then the bore would be about 80. But in this bike this is a different case. That's how Royal Enfield also gives a good amount of mileage. Also it depends on the usage. Now I'll explain you what is a thump. We are using 4-stroke engines. I'll also make a video about what is a 4-stroke engine and what is a 2-stroke engine. So as of now this is a 4-stroke engine. So once the fuel enters from the inlet valve, the piston moves 4 times for one unit of fuel. Okay, so that 1 unit of fuel creates one thump, because when the fuel comes through the inlet valve, the piston goes down and then the smoke comes out of here through the outlet valve. That's how you get one thump, basically one duk-duk sound. Now I'll just start the engine. I'll leave it in 1000 rpm, that is basically idle rpm, to show how the sound is, and you'll have a better understanding on what is a thump. So for each duk-duk sound, or basically we call it as a thump, the piston is moving 4 times for 1 unit of fuel. Now we have seen the thump, right? You might have seen the similar thump in trucks and all. So I'll explain you in a more simple way. So we have a 6-cylinder engine. We can either use it in a race car or a truck. What is the difference between those both vehicles is that the truck gives a lot of torque, and then the sports car, it gives a lot of horsepower. So the engine is tuned in such a way that the sports car is a short stroke engine, and then the truck is a long stroke engine. Nothing but the stroke of an engine increases, and also there are other parameters like the inlet and outlet valve. This is a 2-valve engine, and in the other sports bikes or other bikes we have four valves. So that's how we classify engines. The advantage of a long stroke engine is that it gives a high amount of torque in hilly areas, or it can drag a lot of weight on the bike. In short stroke engines, it gives a good amount of horsepower, but it cannot drag a lot of weight. There are different advantages and disadvantages of a long stroke engine and a short stroke engine. And one more reason which contributes for the thump, this is not a major major factor, but we see this bent on the silencer pipe, right? This contributes some amount of the thump, because from here there is a little back pressure to the outlet valve. End of the video, I would like to conclude that the only reason for the thump in a Royal Enfield engine is the stroke and bore of the engine, and also the pipe, which gives a little amount of back pressure to the outlet valve, and also some of the filters in the silencer, which gives a back pressure. This is also classified as a high torque engine, which would be very useful in hilly terrains. So that is it for today. So in this video we have covered what is a long stroke engine and what is a short stroke engine, what gives that thump to the Royal Enfield engine. Later on in further videos I'll explain what is a 4-stroke engine and a 2-stroke engine. If you do like the content, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for more such videos. Thank you so much. Cheers.